Back on Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Head to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta in the search browser. Hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment. Free and available all your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify and Odyssey. Leave us a 5-star review, and of course, follow me on my personal Twitter page. That would be at JMCH316. Complacency in sports is always an interesting thing, right? You know, Thurman Thomas had the famous quote that he said that if the Buffalo Bills had won that first Super Bowl, remember they lose that's the Scott Norwood game, they lose 20-19 to the New York Giants and all that. He always said that if the Buffalo Bills had won that Super Bowl, that he's not sure that they would have ever gotten back to the Super Bowl again, because you get that fat cat syndrome, right? But because they had lost and they hadn't, they fought scratch clawed and they were going to make sure that they got back to the Super Bowl and try to win the thing, right? We're hearing this about the University of Georgia right now, that their biggest question mark is really, is there complacency? Are they satisfied? They won the national title last year. They've got nothing to prove. Stetson Bennett don't have nothing to prove, blah, 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 right? I don't believe that for Georgia, but that's the narrative that's out there, okay? So I guess you could say the same thing about the Atlanta Braves. Is there a sense of complacency for a team that by and large has brought just about everybody back? They're the defending World Series champs. Here they are again after a great week, beating up on the Mets, beating up on the Astros. Now you get the godforsaken, low-life, pawn scum, dirtbag, flea bag, sludge at the bottom of a barrel, Pittsburgh Pirates that are up next. So are the Braves complacent? I don't think so. And I'm going to tell you why. The number one reason why I'm not worried about complacency is the youth on this team. And that is these young guys, Michael Harris, Vaughn Grissom, Spencer Strider. You look at the young group of guys that have made such a big impact on this team this year. And you watch these games during the week and watching over the weekend, just that invigoration of youth, that these guys are motivated, they're excited, they love playing the game. You see the friendships, you just see the enthusiasm that is out there with this team. And I think that, again, forget just the on-field contributions that Michael Harris and Vaughn Grissom and these guys have given to the Braves. That shot of energy in the clubhouse, right? Just having those young guys around that are just soaking it all in and taking it all in. The old saying is, you don't know what you don't know. That's these Braves right now. Yeah, they are immensely talented, right? I mean, and we're going to talk about, the one guy who did get a couple of at-bats yesterday and just was awful and everything like that. The guy I love to hate on. We'll talk about that coming up in the next segment or whatever like that. But you figure you've got nothing out of him this year and how good they've been on the field. But watch these young guys that are out there. When you see the invigoration, you see Spencer Strider the other night. I love watching him just rear back and fire, right? And I'm going to get a chance to talk to some former Braves players coming up here a little bit later on this week for an event that I'm doing. I'm curious about what these guys think about the youth of this team, because to me, that's the way complacency gets blown up. Like, you wouldn't have thought going into this season that there would be such an infusion of rookies and their contributions to a team that came in knowing that Matt Olson's now the first baseman, Ozzie, Dansby, Riley. We're all set there. Catcher set. We got Darno. Your outfield is set, right? We had Ron, we got Duvall, we got Rosario, we've got Ozuna at DH, this, that, and the other. But the contribution that you got from Contreras to Michael Harris to Spencer Strider to Vaughn Grissom, it shoots that energy. It's like a big B12 shot in the arm of a team that, if there was any questions about complacency, these guys have helped take that away. Now, we'll talk more about this in just a second here. But first, talking about my folks over at Coffee AM. CoffeeAM.com is the place to go. I drink this coffee every single morning, having a cup of it right now. I love these folks. Local here to the state of Georgia. They're up in Canton, the best online coffee roaster in America. Listen, here's what we got going on. You need K-Cups, you need ground coffee, you need organic, you want this, you want flavored, you want teas, you want gift sets, whatever. You need a mug. Okay, whatever you need, coffeeam.com is the place to go. So here's what we got going on. I want you to go to coffeeam.com/locked on. Coffeeam.com/LOCKEDON. When you get there, check out their wide variety of products that they have available to you. Check out the coffees, check out the different types of tea that they have. Pick you up a mug or a gift set or whatever that they've got out there. Put together that first order, okay? And when you do, you got that order put together. When you head to the checkout, I want you to pop the coupon code locked on, LOCKEDON. Pop that coupon code in at checkout, and you'll get 15% off that first order. 15% off your first order simply by popping in locked on, the coupon code LOCKEDON at checkout. Coffeeam.com, the best small batch coffee roaster in America. But you don't normally think of a team that's looking to repeat that is adding so many young pieces. And look, part of it's been injury, part of it's just been an infusion of needing, some new talent, things like that. But that to me is the thing that when you watch this team, that's the big difference in the Braves from last year to this year. And we always talk about, it's been talked about for decades. Well, the Braves are too corporate or this, that, and the other. But look at this group of guys, Ozzie, Ronnie, Harris, Grissom. You've got all these young guys that bring a completely different energy to it. So am I worried about the Braves getting stale or complacent or anything like that? No. And I think a large part of it is just this infusion of this young talent. Now, part of it is too, is that, let's be honest. Even if the Braves don't win the division, they're going to be in the playoffs, right? I mean, whoever doesn't win the division between the Mets and the Braves, they're in the playoffs. But the Braves are certainly chasing down the Mets. And I think just competition itself makes you want to win the division and beat everybody out and certainly get a better spot in the playoff and all of that kind of stuff, right? So, the fact that they've been chasing the Mets all year helps in that. But you watch these young guys, man, every time I watch Grissom and Michael Harris, Strider, and all these guys, you just see that youthful invigoration that those guys bring. And it's why I don't feel like that the Braves are, again, they don't know what they don't know. They go out there and didn't matter if it was the Mets, didn't matter if it was the Astros. They just went out there and played baseball, right? And they can come back, they can beat you in all kinds of different ways. And the element that these guys, the Grissoms and the Harrises and Ronnie and all that, the element that they bring, we talk about this all the time. I mean, their ability to score from anywhere on the base pass. A single with a guy on first means he's standing on third. A ball hit to the wall with a guy on first nowadays means that those guys are scoring. They don't have to sit back and wait for the 3-run homer and mash you over the head. Can they do all that? Yes. And you saw Olsen yesterday, crank up a big home run. They can do that when they need to. But this team is not the home run strikeout group that we saw really by and large a lot last year with Adam Duvall and Marcell Ozuna and all those guys and Freddie and everybody just kind of mashing their way through it, right? Look at all the home runs that they hit, obviously, in the postseason. Rosario and Soler and all those guys. This team is going to win a different way this year in the playoffs. They're not going to just mash their way through the playoffs. And you know what? They didn't mash their way through the Mets and the Astros. They had a lot of those things where a 2-out hit, a ball hit to the wall and Harris is, scoring from there. It's a different vibe and a different feel for this team. And that's the youthful invigoration. So you want the ultimate cure for complacency? Get these young guys in there and look at the contributions that they've brought. Braves are going to be a tough out when it comes to be playoff time. All right, when we come back, there is no real easy solution for what to do with Marcell Ozuna. We'll talk about that next. Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery, Locked On Sports Atlanta.